time, weather, and always class.
Breath control and bad decisions. It's our game. With Gen X and Salty J, we'll shout it loud. A celebration of life. Come join the crowd.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, and anyone who still has a drawer full of mysterious carnival goldfish memories, today we want to take you back to a magical time, the 1980 Summer Carnival. Welcome to Breath Control and Bad Decisions, a Gen X podcast. I am your host, Gen X, and this is my co host.
Salty J.
Welcome.
right.
We're glad you're back. So, today we're going to talk about carnivals, coke mares, and chaos, and that's the best way that I can describe it. So, if you grew up in the 80s, it wasn't just an event, it was the event. Your parents dropped you off with what, 5, 10, 20 bucks, it depending on what year you went. So sometimes if you were older, you get 20 bucks. If you were younger, it was like 5 bucks because 5 bucks would last you the whole day. You had zero supervision and a level of trust that would absolutely get your parents investigated today. How are your carnivals, Julie?
Well, mine were more in the 90s. So, yeah, I was thinking more like 10 or 20 bucks and a wristband. And then you had to buy tickets on top of the wristband. And for us down in the South, we called it the fair, although it was a carnival. And yeah, it was awesome. I think we're going to have a lot of the same experiences. So it's good that we're talking about it.
The whole atmosphere, right? You walk in and you got the blinking neon lights and you see them from all over. You walk in and you see them all the way in the back. You're like, I need to go towards that. I don't know what that is, but it's going to be cool. It was just amazing. The air smelled like popcorn and ozone, Julie. If it was humid in summer, gonna rain maybe.
It did.
Popcorn, cotton candy, and just a little bit of, is the electrical wiring okay today? But, we didn't care. If anything, the danger made it feel more festive because we were kids and we thought the adults would keep us safe. How are you
Well,
gonna be
and we
safe
were
when a dude's
invincible.
rolling in? Yeah, when a dude's rolling up to the carnival and he's whipping a roller coaster out of a suitcase. How is that safe? But we were kids and we're like, well, we're in a place where a whole bunch of adults are here. They know the laws and rules and regulations, and the rides are safe. So let's talk about some of those rides. How were your rides?
Scary in hindsight. I can remember looking at the bolts and the ways that it was put together, and if you look at the people that actually put those fair rides together, a lot of them are pretty scary, and, it's like,
assembled in
"Hey."
assembled in 14 minutes by a guy named Rick, who may or may not have read the instructions, who definitely didn't read the instructions, by the way. And the ride was definitely taken out of a suitcase. Absolutely.
And Rick was probably homeless and picked up, "Hey, man, you need a job? We're gonna travel a lot."
Right. And he was probably an ex-con. But,
And hi and hi. Yeah,
yeah, but he had a job. He had a job.
yeah. In hindsight, and now at my age, I'm kinda scared getting on those rides. But I loved them, and I did feel safe, and I thought it was fun, and I definitely have favorites, so we'll discuss some of the rides. But, yeah, when you talked about the air smelling like popcorn and cotton candy, also funnel cake, that was my
Oh,
favorite.
yes. Funnel cake is still the fair, like, it's state fairs, that's the first thing we do when we walk into a state fair is, I gotta go get that funnel cake in my face.
Yeah, and when you walked in the entrance of ours, there was, like, these big tents on either side, and I told you I was kinda country, so they had a lot of 4-H stuff at ours, so there was, like, rabbits and goats, like, best to show at the fair, and so when we first walked in, first you'd smell animals, then as you got further in, then you would smell the good food, and then you'd see all the blinking bright lights and Ferris wheels, and we were making the dash for the tallest one.
Yeah, I agree, you rode every one you possibly could. Again, not even really thinking about the construction of them, who was running them, any of that stuff. You just thought, "Well, we're safe. These are adults. They're regulated. We're fine. We're fine." You didn't know. You were just there to have fun. We thought we were safe, and, nothing ever happened, to be fair. We were safe. Nothing ever happened, you know? At the Ferris wheel, which gave you a nice romantic view of the entire fairground if you were in that state of mind, and the tilt-a-whirl, which was basically a spinning test of whether or not you really should have had that second funnel cake, and then the bumper cars. I don't know about you, but I could do bumper cars for a short period of time, but then it was like, "Okay, my neck hurts." Like, I was already a 50-year-old woman in the bumper cars because I was like, "I gotta get out, it's hurting my neck."
Aw. I think that, my favorites so I still think this is kinda wholesome, but it kinda goes back to a previous episode. Maybe I did things way too early, but my first kiss was on the Ferris wheel, and it was a boy, Josh, he was a twin, and, we were on the Ferris wheel, and funny enough, I was only 11 or 12, and my parents were on the same Ferris wheel unbeknownst to me, and it was totally wholesome, like, it was just like a little tiny peck, like, most innocent little peck ever. Felt like my little lips were tingling, that was, like, a great moment for me, until I heard my dad yelling, "No!" Yeah, my parents saw it. So Josh was a wholesome relationship, he carried my books to class, I thought he was a great guy, yeah. So, that's what I think of with my Ferris wheel and fair experiences, but that
Oh,
was my absolute yeah, but that's actually not my favorite ride,
yeah, what is your favorite ride?
the zipper. So,
What the
my
hell
friend
is
Kelly
what is this zipper? I've never heard of a
so
ride called the zipper, so I need
so it's these
explanation.
It's these, like, cages where I think 2 or 3 people can sit in, and it goes on either end, it's spinning, and then as it starts spinning, the individual cages start flipping as well. And so
Yikes.
yeah. And it was like, first you're brave to go on it, but then once it starts flipping the cage too, it's like, "Hold my funnel cake." It's pretty
Yeah,
serious.
yeah.
But I told my friend Kelly that, "Oh, it doesn't flip the individual cages unless you make it." So, I talked her into going because she was terrified,
Uh-huh.
and the whole entire ride, she had my face smashed against the side with her hand screaming because she just, like, took her hand and smashed the side of my face against the other side of the cage and was just like, "Ah!" And I was laughing, but I I'm pretty sure she almost killed me after that.
Oh my god, that is hilarious. I think that I'm trying to remember what I always liked the one, and you and I were talking a little bit because I couldn't remember the name of it, and you told me it was the Gravitron. It was the
Yep,
one where you go in and it was enclosed. Ours was enclosed, and you went in and you were kinda laying but you were upright, but you were leaning on like a mat type of thing. You were standing,
like a
but you were
stretcher, yeah.
yeah, but you were tilted, you were at an angle, and then the ride would close, and it was dark, and they would have, like, a strobe light or some kind of, like, disco ball or something in there so you could see something, and then as it went around and around, that centrifugal force would shoot you would go up to the ceiling, that mat would roll all the way up to the ceiling, and you'd be up high on that ceiling, and it was like that for the whole ride, and then it would just stop and you'd slowly come back to the I don't know why I thought that was so much fun. I have no idea why. I still have friends to this day that swear the floor dropped out of that ride, and I'm like, I don't think it did. I'm pretty sure that the floor did not come out. We all went up to the ceiling. Am I not remembering this correctly? Because I have, like, 2 friends that are like, "No, the floor dropped out." I'm like, "I don't think it did."
Let's see what the people on Facebook say because I
Yeah.
don't think it did either. Our little, like, things that we were leaning against had rollers, and we definitely went
Yes.
up.
Yes.
And the thing I remember most is, like, you felt like you were, like, pushed completely against it, so we would try to, like, sit up against it or
Yes.
stand up, and then the person in the center controlling it would yell at you, "No, lay flat," because they didn't want us to slam back hard, which I'm sure I did. And I just remember praying to God nobody would throw up in there because of the spinning.
Because it was gonna circle and get somebody in the
Oh,
face.
yeah.
Yeah.
It happened, not on me, but I know it's happened, so that was a
We had
legit, like, fear.
We had a ride at the amusement park at, Kings Island. It was called the Electric Rainbow, and it was a wheel that was flat. So when you walked on, you were walking onto a wheel, and then you would stand in the side. You would pick a little divot area, if you would. It's for lack of a better explanation, and then they would chain you into that, and then when the ride would start, it would start circling flat, and then it would slowly raise up, so it was perpendicular to the ground, and that's how again, it was that centrifugal force. It would keep you in the divot, and I remember somebody threw up on that. I remember hearing it. It did not make it to where I was, but I remember hearing the retching sound and then, like, the, "Oh!" like, when it was hitting other people. So, it didn't happen on the Gravitron when I rode it, but I do remember it happening on the Electric Rainbow at Kings Island.
Well, that was our first laws of physics, learning
Yeah.
about that. So, we learned good lessons.
I mean,
Yeah.
did we? Maybe we just learned don't stuff your face full of sugar before you get on those rides. Maybe do the rides first and then take a break and eat. And then
No,
when you
I
get
still
back into
haven't learned that.
riding, maybe do the smaller stuff. Like I remember, you'd pay to get into the carnival and you'd get your wristband, and then you'd still have rides that you had to pay for. And it was like, what the hell? I paid to get
Yeah.
in here, now I gotta pay for rides too? This is bullshit. Um, we had some that weren't like that. You paid, you got in, and you just rode until your heart's content. How about the games? Like, I
Oh,
know that
I
for
love
me,
it.
I love playing the games, and nothing builds character like spending $1,000,000, 20 to 25 cent stuffed animal. Ring toss, totally rigged. Balloon darts, rigged. Basketball hoop, looked normal, actually totally rigged. And you would spend hours like, I can do it. This is just a basketball. I could do it. Um, but every once in a while, you'd see somebody walk around the carnival with a giant stuffed animal, and you're like, "Oh, they're the
I
king.
I can
They did it.
remember the
They
first
did it."
few life lessons, like with the games, they'd say, "Oh yeah, hit." They had all the giant teddy bears up front,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
so they'd say, "Hit this balloon with a dart, or fill up this balloon and pop it first with this water gun, and you will get your stuffed animal." And so I would win, and I would be jumping up and down cheering, and then they would reach under the counter and pull out like a 6-inch ugly stuffed animal that I just won. And I'm like, "No, you said I'd win a stuffed animal." And they'd be like, "This is. You have to win 10 times to get the
To
giant
get the big
one."
one.
So, yeah, so I definitely felt gypped on those games, but I still
Yeah.
played them, and the people running them were definitely hustlers. "Psst, you wanna win a teddy bear?" They were
Yeah.
creepy. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
creepy.
and do you remember, and I don't know if this was a thing still in the '90s because I truly do not remember. Did you have the ring toss where you had the big, giant, stretched bottles of soda? Like, they were big soda bottles, and the necks had been stretched, so they were tall and skinny, and then you would toss a ring, and of course, it would miss. It would bounce all over the place, and if you were lucky, I say, and you got one, you had to carry around this weird looking soda bottle. I think it just had I think they just had water in them, but they had stretched the necks out so to make them, like, tall and thin, and so they were essentially like 2.5-foot soda bottles. Does anybody remember that? Am I the only one that remembers those things and how they were coveted, how we all wanted I don't know why we wanted to win a stupid stretched glass bottle of soda, but we did.
So I think it changed for me because we did totally have those ring tosses with the bottles, but
Uh-huh.
you would win a actual goldfish. And so
I remember those for sure.
so I would bring home a goldfish, and one of them I had I think he lasted like 8 years. I even had to move, and I had him, like, in the floorboard of the passenger seat, pumping air in there every once in a while just to make sure
Aw,
he'd stay alive. Because we
good.
went from Tallahassee to Orlando. That thing lasted longer than any fish I've ever had, just the simple little fair goldfish, but,
I
uh
remember I remember the golf I never won one. I never
You didn't?
won I wanted one, but they were always prizes in a game that I could not do, like, I just
Oh,
couldn't I could never win. I was really good at winning the shoot the water into a balloon and make it pop. I've
yeah.
always like, to the I that game I'm really, really good at, and I always win on those games. Those are the games that had the mirrors, the little 4 by 4 mirrors that had your favorite band name on them. In hindsight, as an adult, I know that those were Coke mirrors because it was the '80s, and that's what people did in the '80s, but as a kid, you're like, "Yes, I need a stack of 4 by 4 little small mirrors that have AC/DC on them. I need those." I had a shitload of those things, and I had them all around my room, on the walls. everywhere. In hindsight, like I said, as an adult, I'm like, "Oh my god, those were fucking Coke mirrors. Those are very obviously Coke mirrors." But
I didn't get any of
you're an innocent
those.
kid. I didn't know what I just was like, "Ooh, I need a." Why did we want, when you're 12, 14, 15, why do you want a a little small mirror with your band logo on them? What the hell was the point?
'Cause you don't know
I don't
better,
know.
and
Because you don't
everybody
know, and
else
you're
is
like,
doing it.
yeah, you're like, "I just want one of those." And then, like I said, you look back and you're like, "I had a stack of Coke mirrors in my room. What the hell?"
I used to always want to do where there was, like, a rope that you try to climb up and touch the back wall, and it would flip over and drop you off, and I tried that a bunch of times, never made it all the way up the rope. It still bothers me to this day I haven't made it,
I
and
know what
then
that is. I've never seen that.
really, like, you would it
Yeah.
was like a rope that was just it connected into, like, one at the very top.
Uh-huh.
And so you had to, like, balance as you climb up it, and if you went too far to the left or right, you would just flip upside down on it.
Oh, no,
You
that
didn't
sounds like
do
a lot
that?
that no, that sounds like a lot of work. That and I no, like, I am not here to work. I am here to have fun.
My favorite thing at the fair completely, I doubt you had the same guy, but hopefully you had somebody similar. It was a clown in a dunking booth, and
Yes.
this guy was a fucking savage. Like, he would insult people, and
Yes.
people would be throwing 10, $20 down just trying to dunk him.
Yeah.
But,
Every carnival has that guy, and I think it's a really coveted job because 'cause you're like, "I can sit here and insult people all day in the heat, and then I can get dunked in the water and cool off? Sign me up. Where do I sign up for that?"
I think it would be really fun. I can only remember the insult he asked me, like, "What are you waiting on, a New Kids on the Block concert?" And I was like, not insulted because I really liked them.
You
But,
were like, "Yes, I
he
am."
he asked one of my friends who she hit puberty late, she eventually grew boobs, but he said, "What are those, mosquito bites?" And man, she started throwing money down and she dunked him probably 10 times in a row. Like, her aim was spot on.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, because
they
that's really that, like, now, like, that's really sick. That's a really sick thing to say to somebody.
Yeah, but it was funny, and he was savage, and he did it to everybody. He was a
Yeah.
equal opportunity offender. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, he would pick on somebody that had big boobs or regular boobs or whatever. They go for the
Regular boobs.
emotional jugular.
Well, of course they do.
Yeah, how dare you have regular boobs?
They know where teenagers are vulnerable, and they hit those spots. That's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of it, and
Yeah.
now, today, they would never be able to do that because too many people
No,
be
no.
offended. Too many people will be like, "How do you dare you comment on my body? How you that you're a pedophile, you're this, you're that." Like, you could
Yeah.
never get away with that today. Absolutely not.
But it was funny, and you know
Yeah.
what? She dunked the shit out of him, got it
Good
out of
for
her
her.
system, and she eventually hit puberty, and she's a beautiful woman.
Good for
But yeah,
her.
I it was funny, and
Good.
I was proud of her because I think literally every ball hit the target after he said that, and I was like, "Damn, he fucked up."
You
Yeah,
oh, son, you done fucked up.
and it's the little ones you gotta watch out for, like, she was just so smiley and beautiful and cute, like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So that was probably my favorite part was just people watching at the fair because
Oh,
man, there were some
yeah. Do you
people.
remember did your fairs have, like, the airbrush t-shirt booth or where they just airbrush the shit out of
Yeah.
everything? Why did we think that was so great back then? Like, why was airbrushed clothing with shit written on it so popular? Why did we want that so bad? And
I still
it
want
was
it.
it was just like, "Ooh, that's written in airbrush. I like it." And we all clamored to have it. We all
Yeah.
wanted it, and they were on every, you know, side of the fair had 4 to 5 of those booths, and they all
You know what it
had
was?
lines.
It was bragging rights. You know, like, when we would go to concerts, we wanted to wear the concert T-shirt to school the next day to show
Yeah.
off. So, when we got the little shirts or hats airbrushed, we wanted to go to school and show off that we got to go to the fair. It was total bragging rights, like, "Look at me, airbrushed Julie. I was there."
I was there, and
Yeah.
I have this airbrush shirt that proves it, even though it's
Yeah.
crooked. It doesn't matter. It's airbrushed. I was there. You know I was at the carnival. Jerk.
Right. Yeah.
Dare you look down on me. I was at the carnival. I just one of the that's just one of those things that I look at now and I'm like, "Why did we love the airbrush t-shirt booth so much? Why did we love
Actually
that so
still
much?"
love them. I went to X Games, and they had people at X Games airbrushing shirts last year, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I want one," but the line was too long, and I was just kinda
It's
like, "Okay, I
coming
don't
it's
want one that
so
bad."
so it's coming back around because I haven't seen one of those in, decades at a state fair or I haven't seen one in a while, so if you saw one, then they're
Yeah.
clearly
Oh,
that's coming back.
definitely.
Yeah,
Everything great comes back around. It does.
yeah.
So, it's definitely coming back. We're gonna have more tie-dyed. I've definitely seen a lot of, like, the neon stuff is definitely coming back. I hadn't talked about it on the show much, but one of my other jobs is designing clothes, and, I can tell you the '90s stuff is definitely back in, especially for Miami. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, we definitely showed up with the fashion because you had the neon, neon so bright you could guide the ships at sea, the denim jackets. Remember we had denim jackets that had shit written all over or had patches on them and buttons and anything.
I want all
Graphic
that back.
graphic tees. I mean, graphic tees never really went out of style. The scrunchies, hair that defied gravity and common sense, and somehow still held after we rode all of those rides. And um you would still buy more clothing, more accessories for your clothing while you were there. Like, "Oh, I need these scrunchies. I need this. I have to have banana clips. I need this. I need that." It was you're right when you touched on, the people watching was one of the best parts of it, and it still is. I mean, even now, if you go to a
Yeah.
carnival or state fair, you're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna sit here for a little bit. I'm gonna sit here and eat my hot dog, and I'm gonna watch all of these people."
Yeah. Also, when you were talking about the Coke mirrors, we used to have these little hair feather clips,
Oh, the
and
roach clips.
you clip
Yeah.
them in your hair.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
I had a
And
ton of
so
those.
you talk about the Coke mirrors. Well, I used to have tons of roach clips. And
Yeah.
just the other day, I was thinking, I want to find some. I want to bring that back. I used to love those little feather things in your hair.
I
I'm going
didn't
to get
wear
some.
them.
I'm going to start wearing them.
I didn't wear 'em in my hair. I had a straw fedora style hat that was
Yeah.
that was the style at the time, We wore an onion on our belt because that was the style at the time, and I had one really long one on that, and I remember somebody had borrowed my hat and still had the clip on it, and they were 2 grades younger than I was, so I was in high school at the time, and they were in junior high, and they got in trouble at the junior high for having that. And I remember I had to go to the junior high and go, "That's my hat. She borrowed my hat. It's mine. It's not hers. It's my hat. Give it, she didn't have anything to do. She
Yeah.
just wanted to borrow a hat. She doesn't know what this even is. She just thought it was a cool feather accessory." I still remember that. It was so weird that they got in trouble for it and that I could wear it in high school without, with absolute impunity. It was hilarious.
Well, some teacher was like, "I use that for a roach clip. I know it's wrong."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I borrow that
yeah.
later? I need to get high after school.
I'm confiscating this right this
Yeah,
moment.
that's gonna be mine now, but remember they were always really long. It
Yeah.
wasn't just
Oh,
the
yeah.
the clip with a little thing, it was always long, and then it had feathers attached to it, and, like, they had to make it decorative. It always had to
I'm
be
gonna find one, and I'm gonna
decorative.
start wearing it again. I thought they were awesome.
I would venture to
I'm
say
bringing it
that
back.
if you go Google search that, I'm sure you could buy them. We could
Yeah,
market
if
them for
they're
the
not on
podcast.
if you make them, send me one, please. No. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they I miss too the scrunchies. I used to sew my own, and I would, sometimes I would buy 2 of something, like, say I'd have, like, a shirt, and then I would cut out another shirt that matched it and make the matching scrunchie so that it was,
Yeah.
like, extra, extra.
You were super creative. I appreciate that about you. You were really creative. I didn't do any of that. I didn't do any of that. I was like, "Oh, I don't wanna." Like, I just wasn't creative enough in that regard to come up with anything, you know, fancy that matched. If I wanted a matching scrunchie, I either bought it or I just didn't match. I was like, "Well, it's black." My scrunchies were, like, black because they went with everything, and
Yeah.
I didn't wear neon, and that was kind of a different group or kinda a different group of people that wore the neon on and they listened to different music, so that wasn't my scene, but I remember seeing it, like, everywhere,
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah.
You know, you could spot your friend from a mile away, so be like, "Oh, there she is, she's wearing that big bright green neon shirt, and then she's got a bright pink, scrunch in her hair, and the bright pink socks, and everything was neon, so it was always easy to find them. That was the nice
I
part about
did
it is
it.
you could always totally find them. Um, I think it's just at the time that it kinda came into fashion,
You were a
it
little bit older.
I well, I think it was just reminiscent of you probably listen to this type of music, which is more poppy. Because I remember when Wham! First came on the scene, it was really popular. They kinda I remember George Michael wearing it, and I think the "Wake Me Up"
Yeah.
video, and not like a huge not on a shirt, but maybe like I feel like I remember seeing it in that video, and I could be misremembering, but I feel like it was you kinda listen to more poppy music, and it kinda went hand in hand with that, and again, I'm not classing this, I'm just saying for me, I feel like that it went with that kind of music, and I didn't really listen to the pop. I liked it, I liked Duran Duran and I like stuff like that, but it wasn't my my main type of music, so I tended to not wear that kind of fashion, if that at all makes
Did
sense. I
you
know I'm probably not explaining that well at all.
No, I totally understand what you're saying. Did you go through, like, the phase of wearing all black or, like, the emo type stuff?
No. Uh-uh. No.
I
No.
started skateboarding in middle school, and I remember I wore a lot of black.
I
I
remember
I
seeing
think
kids
I
at the fair that were wearing a lot of black, and I was like, "It is summer. How are you not" like, it would make me hot because they were in black head to toe, and this was, 85, 86 ish, and they were just covered head to toe wearing black, and I'm like, I'm you're making me, like, 20 degrees hotter. We're at the
I
fair.
wish I wish I had more pictures because I think I went through these fashion extremes that were crazy. I can remember wearing biker shorts with a jean skirt over them, but you had to make
Mhm.
sure the biker shorts were hanging out the bottom so you could see it. And
I
then you'd
had
wear
yeah.
a tight fitting tank top with like another tank top over it that had big sagging sleeves where you could see the under tank top. So it was basically like 4 layers. And
It
I
was
can remember
layered.
my dad, yeah, he would say, "That looks so dumb. Why are you wearing it to school like that?" And I'd say, "I like it. Shut up," you know?
I remember the biker shorts because, um, we used to wear like, I had a pair of really, really ripped up jeans, and they were by the time they were almost done, like, they were ripped at the ass, like, right underneath the ass cheeks, and I wore the biker shorts underneath them so I could still wear the jeans without showing my ass everywhere. So I wore them underneath I would wear them underneath skirts, but I would always wear them underneath jeans where they were ripped in places like that. Um, so I do remember that. I remember the layered tanks. I don't remember wearing them, um, until I was a little bit older. I wore a layered like, I had a tank underneath, and then I had a T-shirt that had been made into a tank. Like, it had been
Yeah,
cut, and then the sleeves were cut all the way down to, like, the waist. So I
yeah,
had to wear something underneath it.
exactly.
So, yeah, it was like a graphic tee with that was made cut into be a tank, and then I had a tank top underneath it. I was probably 18, 19-ish at that time.
I'm 10,000% sure that I wore that outfit to the fair. And
Yeah.
it was like it was perfect because if you wore skirts and you had biker shorts on, you didn't have to worry about it. So
Right, and
whatever rides, you were set.
that's a perfectly fine fair outfit.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that outfit, but what you had to be cognizant of is don't wear anything too tight because 'cause you're gonna be eating a lot of sugar. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, like the
it
funnel
was
cakes.
let's see what we can deep fry. Let's deep fry everything. Corn dogs, funnel cakes, fried dough, butter. If it existed, someone was like, "What if we made it crisper and added powdered sugar and then served it with a 64-ounce soda?"
There was also, that just reminded me, by the food, there was, like, a stage where people did shows, and they had people that did clogging and stuff. Did you see
Mhm.
that, or do you remember
Yes.
that?
I do remember that. So, it was so you could
So
eat and watch a show.
so one of actually, it's my goddaughter's father, I won't say his name, but, he was a local stud muffin, but he was a clogger. And so he would be on the stage doing those shows, and then, like, he was a ladies' man, which I still the connection to those is just funny. Like, tough guy, I think he drives a Harley now, but just picturing him up there clogging, like, it's just
As his secret shame.
oh, you know what? I'll have to send this podcast to him and remind him that people remember.
Remember remember you were a clogger. When you get a little too big for your britches, I'm gonna always remind you that you were a clogger at one point, and I sat down and while I was eating a funnel cake and watched you clog. You were my entertainment.
Man, I don't talk to him anymore, but I'm gonna send this to him because it's true. He needs to be reminded.
Yeah. I mean, it was I kinda like that they set it up that way because you got to eat your food, you had to eat your fair food, and they would come up with different shit to fry every year, and they still do this at state fairs, they're like,
Oh,
here's some
yeah.
new shit we fried this year," but back then it was usually the same, I don't remember them
Corn
coming up
dogs.
with new stuff, but it was always deep fried, covered in sugar, and just bad for you. You know, french fries, the fresh cut french fries. Oh god, I can still smell that. Oh, I still love french cut french fries are one of my favorite things. The fresh cut and fried right there. Oh, yeah. I remember you get those at the carnival and you could get them if you wanted to dip them with cheese. You could get the cheese sauce with them. That was just cheddar cheese, not that gross nacho cheese that I absolutely hate. Um, so you had those or you had they made the potato chips out of the fresh potatoes. They would spiral slice them and then deep fry
Yeah,
'em, and
and
then
then
you'd have, like, an accordion of potato chips.
and you could watch them do the potatoes, so you knew they were
Yes.
fresh.
Yes, and it was so
Yeah.
good, and nobody was standing there going, "You shouldn't eat that. That's not good for you. Don't drink so much soda. Don't eat so much sugar. You should drink water." All we did was eat fried crap and chase it with soda.
And then run to the next ride.
It you would do that, and then you'd get off the ride and you'd be like, "I need some more sugary soda."
I can remember when they made fried Oreos, and I thought that was the greatest invention ever. Like, I was older when they did that, but it was a new addition to the fair, and I was like, "What? You can fry Oreos?" And
Yeah,
yeah.
you could fry anything.
Cheesecake? Yeah,
They did,
yeah.
I remember the fried Oreos. I remember they introduced those, and I had the same thought you did was, "What? You can fry an Oreo? How do you do that?" And they did fried Twinkies, fried Milky Ways, fried Snicker bars. Um, I've made those as an adult. I'm not ashamed to admit it because I really wanted to I'm like, "I'm gonna make these." So you buy, wonton wrappers and the little fun-size candy bars, and you wrap the fun-size candy bar in the wonton wrapper and dip it in the oil for, you know, 30 seconds or so. If that, and then there's your fried Milky Way or fried Oreo, whatever. But I remember the fried Oreos, and I had the exact same thought you did, is how do you fry an Oreo? It's not it's a cookie. How do you do that?
Yeah, but I was impressed.
Oh, yeah. It was you were like, "Well, I'm gonna try it. I'm totally gonna try that. That's gonna be" you make fun of it at first, but then you're like, "I'm gonna try that." It's kinda like when bottled water
Yeah.
came out. You're like, "Bottled water? Who's gonna buy bottled water?" "Oh, I'll buy a bottle. I'll try it."
Everybody 10 times a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had all of that, and then blasting over all of it was the music. Music was everywhere. You had, you know, rock music that was blasting from speakers that you couldn't find, but it sounded like they were clearly inside of a tin can. It didn't matter though. It didn't matter. It was rock, hip hop, synth heavy pop, whatever.
Loved it all.
Loved it all. It just gave such ambiance that it just that fed into that whole atmosphere. And occasionally you'd have live music. It usually in the evening for us, it was the bands were usually at night. Um, but that whole, you walk in the fair, you've got the smells of the food and the excitement of the rides and the possibility of winning all these great prizes, and then you've got this music. It was all the cacophony of the fair was just out of this world. It's you hear it and you're like, "Oh, that takes me back."
I even loved waiting in line because we would be like, "Oh, look at that boy 3 rows over. He's so cute." And then we'd
Yeah.
be waiting to try to turn a corner so you would, like, get a chance to meet them. And, like, you're, like, in line trying to time it just right. "I'm gonna walk a little bit slower so we can look at
Yeah.
that guy with the jean jacket." Yeah, it was just very innocent and fun, and oh, the house with all the mirrors that you walk through,
Oh,
and
the
then
fun
it
house.
had yeah, and then it had, like, the giant gerbil wheel that you had to run on,
Yeah.
like, I always had a fear that I was gonna fall and, like, do a couple of flips in front of everybody at the fair. It never happened, but it was a fear.
I love the fun house mirrors because they were like, when you first go in, you're like, "It's just a bunch of mirrors. How fun is it gonna" and you go in and you see how ridiculous everybody looks, and it's just you can't stop laughing. Like, you laugh until your sides hurt because you look so silly.
Yeah, it was pretty dang wholesome.
Yeah, I
One
mean
time where you
go
walk
ahead.
through all the glass and mirrors and you get, like, the maze, I
Yeah.
I saw myself, but I was wearing a different outfit, and it scared the shit out of me. And then when I left the ride, there was a girl that looked almost exactly like me that I met, and
You
she
thought
was
you went
like,
into another dimension?
"Yeah." I was like, "Were you freaked out too?" And she's like, "Yes." And
My
I
god,
wish
I would have loved to have witnessed that.
oh my god, I just remember looking her up and down and looking at myself and being so confused. And there was no alcohol, like, I was young, I
I was
was
gonna say,
probably, like,
thank
10 or
God
11.
you were not under the influence of anything because that would have amplified it 10 times.
Yeah, but I wish I would have gotten her name or her information because I mean, it was striking. I should have been like, "Who is your dad?" Yeah, it was that scary.
I cannot even
So,
imagine. I mean, I would have liked to have witnessed it just for you to be like, "Did you I'm right there and I'm wearing something else. Oh my god." Like, that would have been hilarious to
it
witness.
was
To not
definitely
to
a
not be
moment
the
of
person, but yeah.
I'm sure I looked bewildered and just dumb because I just stood there, like, looking her up and down and looking at my clothes, like, it felt like I stood there 10 minutes, I'm sure it was 30 seconds, but I was just like, "This is the best fun house ever. How do they do this?"
How
Yeah,
did they yeah,
it
how did
was
they know? I'm so confused right now. And, you know, there was never any discipline at the carnival. Like, there were no adults yelling at kids.
no, nobody was yelling like, "Slow down," or "Quit
Nope.
running," or no, we were just
Or,
feral,
"Don't
for
do
real.
that." No, we were absolutely feral at the carnival, and, it was about people. It's where you met your friends, you ran into your crush, and you tried to act all cool while you're hiding behind, like, a giant stuffed banana, being like, "I don't uh-oh, I'm carrying a banana. This is awkward." It was freedom. It was freedom.
Yeah.
It was chaos. It was slightly unsafe, but we loved it. I mean, we
And our
loved it.
parents would drop us off. I don't know if yours did, but, like, they went the first couple times, hence the whole Ferris wheel incident, but I think by, like, age 13, they just let me go by myself and just dropped me off, and that was just this freedom of feeling like I was an adult and feeling
Yeah.
like I ruled the world. Kinda like getting dropped off at the mall by yourself the first time. It
Yeah,
just felt like
it is, it's a freedom thing. I'm here with my friends and nobody's the boss of me today, but I do have to be back at the gate by, like, 9 because my parents are gonna be picking us up.
yeah,
And you'd collect
yeah.
you remember you'd play, the games where you collected the tickets? You'd play a
I
game,
mean, I
and then
remember that at
when
Ch
you'd
like,
win,
Chick-fil-A,
you'd
or
get
I mean, not
tickets.
Chick-fil-A, Chuck E. Cheese, that's
Chuck
the
E.
word I
Cheese.
was looking for.
Well, they had some games at the carnival that were you could play them, and then they'd spit out tickets. Now, skee ball comes to mind, but skee ball was generally
Yeah,
at, like, arcades and stuff, but they did have some that you would win tickets and you'd have to go you got enough tickets, you're like, "I'm saving up 500 tickets so I can get, like, this little plastic whistle." It was always junk. It was always
yeah.
over ticketed price. I remember that. I remember, like, collecting a lot of tickets for that for shit, you know? But I do remember always wanting to win those damn Coke mirrors because they had a band name on, they had my favorite band was on it, I had so many of them, but it's just so funny that we didn't really know what they were, we were kids, you're in that innocence of, "Cool, it's a mirror." Why the fuck would you be a prize be a 4 by 4 mirror? It was the '80s,
I
everybody was
mean,
doing cocaine.
yeah, I think most of my family was.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I'm not
mean,
gonna
I
say
I
that.
didn't
I'd
have
say some of my family was.
yeah, I didn't have friends or anybody that did, I'm talking about, like, adults, it's the '80s, vote for Ronald Reagan and do a lot of cocaine, is the whole
Yeah,
but it's funny now
yeah.
when I think about how many of those things that I had, and I wonder, you know, if, like, my parents knew what they were. I feel like they did not because I know my parents weren't into, they weren't doing drugs, but I just it's one of those things where you're like, I had stacks of those mirrors because they were at every carnival. They were at every carnival. I had so many of them, and I just thought they were cool at the time.
I bet they're collector items.
They were virtually unusable because they had a logo on them and right in the center. What are you gonna use it as a mirror? No, you're gonna use it to snort cocaine off of. Everybody knows that.
I bet if you went on eBay, they still have them on there all the time.
I've they probably do. I've never
Yeah.
checked. It's never something as an adult I've been like, "You know what I need? I need one of the carnival mirrors." But
I need an
now I've out of
AC/DC Coke
curiosity
mirror.
I need you know what I need? You know what this room is missing? AC/DC Coke mirror. Oh, perfect. That's it. That's exactly what it needs. You're right. Good job. That's a good addition. Yeah, I've never thought about that, but now kinda out of morbid curiosity, I kinda wanna check. So, I
Tell
mean
you that I was a kind of rough kid, but I never did coke or anything. I was always
no,
terrified.
I didn't either.
I had a family member go to jail, and, I always thought, like, that they weren't around for their kids and how hurtful that was to our family, so I just avoided it completely, but
Yeah,
it was very normalized, and it was very prevalent back then, so
yeah.
I
It
think a lot
was.
of parents knew exactly what it was, and they just
I
didn't
think
say.
that I think that
Or that
it if they did know, they didn't think their 12-year-old was using coke. They were just like,
doing it.
Look at this cool mirror that I won." 'Cause
Yeah.
mine were just on my room and, I had my posters, plastered all over my room, and so I would just put them, like, in between where they would fit because they were small, so I would just put them in, like if there were a gap somewhere, I'd be like, "Boom, that's where that goes." They were decorative, that's what I
Yeah.
used them for. They were
Yeah.
little
I
touches of decoration in my room.
think for the fair, the shirts we talked about, the airbrush shirts were probably the
Yeah,
biggest thing that
yeah,
or the feather clips. I think I did get some of those from the fair.
yeah,
And the goldfish.
and the
Definitely.
goldfish.
Yeah.
For
The one that
sure.
just lived forever.
I mean, when you look back, the '80s, '90s summer carnivals were the perfect snapshot of the decades. They were loud, they were colorful, they were definitely unhinged, and they were totally unforgettable. Things now are safer. They're certainly more regulated. There's no exposed wires or fewer exposed wires. There's definitely fewer mysterious ride operators named Rick, but it's not the same,
And if a
right?
guy commented on a girl's boobs, he'd get beat down in the parking lot.
Oh, absolutely, and probably arrested. Probably arrested. So
Yeah.
I mean, nothing compares to the thrill of our childhood carnivals. The rides were questionable, and the prizes were definitely suspicious, but the memories were a million% worth it.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
And I haven't been to one in years, but I actually probably would like to go just to see if any of those feelings or memories come back, even though I
yeah.
think it's gonna be very much different than when we were there. Although it's
I'm
probably the same exact rides with the loose bolts.
yeah, I tend to agree. I think there's more regulated, but it doesn't mean anybody's going around after they put them up checking to see if those bolts are tight. We went to the state fair here a couple years ago, and the only thing I don't like about state fairs is they're always in fucking August where it's 90 million degrees and humid and gross. It's like, "Let's get there at 6 in the morning so it's not hot," but I'm like, "I don't like to get up early, so I don't wanna do that." And it's just for me as an adult, I don't like the heat and humidity at all. Spending an entire day outside in oppressive heat, smelling all of the carnival smells, or the state fair smells, I should say. It gets to me and it tends to make me sick. So, like, when you first
Yeah.
go in, you're like, "Oh, the smells take me back to the carnivals," but then when you're there for several hours and it's 105 degrees and you're just covered in sweat and you're miserable and then all the smells hit you, it's like, "Oh, I need to go home. I need to get out of here."
Yeah. I can agree, and it's like the older I get, the less tolerance I have for it,
Right. It's
but
that's that thing is as you get older, you're like, "I am so over people. I am just nope, I don't wanna I don't just get away from me. Get away from me." It's ridiculous, but we loved the carnivals of our childhood. The memories that
you
we
know what I
had
forgot
are so
about?
perfect.
I gotta bring this up. I never had one until the fair. Those giant ass turkey legs.
Oh,
Did
that you
y'all
get
have
those at the
those?
Renaissance Festival. I don't remember them
I've
being
never
at
been to
the
a
at
Renaissance festival.
I don't I think they are at state fairs. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they are at state fairs, but I cannot walk around eating a giant turkey leg.
I just remember thinking, like, that is the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
People walking by and just being like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was like a ostrich leg or something. I don't know, but I just remember that being very dramatic seeing it and
Yeah.
going, "What the hell is that giant chicken leg they're eating?"
That wide-eyed
Yeah.
innocence is the thing that you're like, "Oh my god, what is that? I need to eat that. I can't eat all of it, but I
Yeah.
wanna try it." Yeah, it's that you don't have that anymore as you get older, and we do miss that for sure, but I'm really grateful for the memories that, we do have from the fair, again, I do when I do go to a state fair and I do those smells come at you, it immediately takes me back to those summer carnivals of the '80s, absolutely. So, I hope that everybody that's been to a carnival in the '80s and '90s, '70s, whenever you went when you were a kid, that you have those memories, and hopefully you were able to kinda relive them through the podcast today. So we hope you've
That's
enjoyed
so cool.
today's episode and you were able to take you down a nice memory lane of carnivals. And we appreciate your being here. And if anybody still owes me a goldfish, we need to talk.
Yeah, and let us know if Gravitron's floor dropped out or not. We both don't think it did.
Yeah, we're both on the no, it's not. The floor did not fall. You just went up. You went up. The floor didn't drop down. So if we're not
We
correct, or if
think.
there's a different ride that
Prove
we're
us wrong.
yeah, I'm the ones that I did, the floor did not drop out of. I am confident of this.
Yeah. So until next time, though, just remember all the good stuff from our childhood. Let us know if you think of anything we should talk about. And thank you for reminiscing with us because it's really fun.
Yeah, and tell us about your favorite rides and your favorite food at the carnival. We wanna hear it.
Amen. Bye.
Bye.